you're 3 weeks into the thing that could actually change your life. The business is gaining traction, the project is almost done, the habit is finally sticking. And then, out of nowhere, your brain starts whispering, maybe this isn't worth it, maybe you should pivot, maybe you should quit while you're ahead. And here's the strange part, it's not happening when things are going badly, it's happening when things are starting to work. Right when you're on the edge of a breakthrough, your brain floods you with doubt, exhaustion, and a sudden urge to walk away. If you've ever quit something right before it paid off, if you've ever felt strongest resistance when you were closest to success, if you've ever abandoned a project just as it was gaining momentum, then what I'm about to tell you will explain why. Because this isn't bad luck, this isn't self-sabotage. This is your brain doing exactly what it was designed to do. And until you understand the psychology of the pre-breakthrough quit, you'll keep repeating this pattern for the rest of your life. Here's what most people think is happening. They assume quitting means they weren't committed enough. They picked the wrong goal, they lost motivation. So they restart, pick something new, feel excited again. And then 3 weeks in, the same thing happens. Doubt creeps in, energy drops, they quit, new cycle. Same pattern, but here's what's actually happening. Your brain isn't detecting failure, it's detecting change. And change, even positive change, is interpreted as a threat. Because your nervous system has one prime directive: keep you alive. And staying alive, for most of human history, meant staying the same. Neuroscience calls this neurological homeostasis. Your brain has a comfort zone, not just emotionally, biologically. And when you start pushing beyond that zone, when you start becoming someone different, when your daily actions no longer match your historical identity, your brain activates defense systems to pull you back. This is the pre-breakthrough resistance. And it's not a bug, it's a feature. Here's how it works. When you start something new, there's excitement, dopamine flows. Possibilities feel endless, you're energized. But as you continue, something shifts. The newness wears off, the dopamine fades, and reality sets in. This is going to take longer than I thought. This is harder than I expected. The results aren't coming as fast as I imagined. And right at that moment, when the excitement is gone but the breakthrough hasn't arrived yet, your brain scans for justification to quit, and it will find it. Because your brain isn't trying to hurt you, it's trying to protect you from wasted energy. Studies in evolutionary psychology show that humans are wired to conserve resources. If something isn't paying off quickly, the ancient part of your brain assumes it's not going to pay off at all. So it creates psychological pressure to stop. Not because the goal is wrong, but because continuation feels inefficient to a system designed for short-term survival. This is why quitting feels logical in the moment. Your brain gives you reasonable-sounding reasons. This isn't working. I should focus on something else. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. And because those thoughts feel like clarity, you believe them. But they're not clarity, they're biology trying to return you to baseline. Here's the part that makes this so dangerous. The pre-breakthrough quit doesn't happen randomly. It happens at a very specific point, right when you've invested enough to feel the loss, but right before you've invested enough to see the return. Psychologists call this the valley of disappointment. You've left the peak of excitement. You haven't reached the peak of results. You're in the middle, the messy, unsexy, unrewarding middle. And your brain interprets that discomfort as evidence that you're on the wrong path. But you're not on the wrong path. You're just in the part of the path where most people turn around. Research on skill acquisition shows that breakthroughs don't happen linearly. You don't improve a little bit every day. You plateau for weeks, sometimes months, while your brain is consolidating the work you're doing. And then, suddenly, you leap forward. But that leap only comes if you stay in the plateau long enough. Most people quit during the plateau. They think nothing's happening. They think they're stalling. But neurologically, everything is happening. Your brain is rewiring, connections are strengthening, patterns are forming. You just can't see it yet. And because you can't see it, your brain assumes it's not real. Here's how you know if you're in pre-breakthrough resistance. 1. You feel more doubt now than you did at the beginning. 2. Quitting feels rational, not emotional. 3. You're suddenly noticing all the flaws in what you're building. 4. You're thinking about pivoting or starting something else. 5. You're tired in a way that rest doesn't fix. If that's you right now, congratulations. You're not failing, you're close, closer than you think. And your brain is panicking because it knows if you keep going, you're going to become someone it doesn't recognize. And the unfamiliar self is a threat to the familiar self. So what do? You don't fight it. You don't try to motivate your way through it. You understand the mechanism and you operate differently. Strategy 1. Name the phase. Right now, your brain is treating this resistance as meaningful information. It's not. It's just a phase. So you name it. This is pre-breakthrough resistance. This is the valley. This is the point where my brain tries to pull me back. And naming it removes its power. Because once you see it as a predictable pattern instead of personal truth, it loses its grip. Strategy 2. Shrink the time frame. Your brain is overwhelmed by the gap between where you are and where you want to be. So you stop focusing on the end goal. You focus on the next 48 hours. Not, can I do this for 6 months? Can I do this for 2 more days? And when you get there, another 2 days. Research on commitment devices shows that people are far more likely to continue when they break overwhelming goals into micro-commitments. You're not committing to finishing, you're committing to not quitting this week. And that's manageable, even when your brain is screaming. Strategy 3. Expect the void. Most people quit because they think something's wrong when they hit the plateau. But the plateau isn't a sign of failure, it's a sign of transformation. Your brain is reorganizing, your skills are integrating, your identity is updating. And that process is invisible. So you expect the void. You expect the period where nothing seems to be happening, and you keep moving through it, not because you see progress, but because you understand that progress is happening beneath the surface. Here's what happens when you push through pre-breakthrough resistance just once. You don't just achieve the goal, you rewire your relationship with discomfort, because you prove to yourself that the doubt wasn't truth. The exhaustion wasn't a stop sign. The urge to quit wasn't wisdom, it was just biology. And biology can be overridden. And the next time you feel that resistance, and you will, it won't have the same power, because you'll recognize it. Oh, this again, I know what this is. And instead of quitting, you'll just keep going. Not because it feels good, but because you know what's on the other side. So here's the truth about breakthroughs. They don't happen to people who feel ready, they happen to people who stay longer than their brain wants them to. The breakthrough isn't a reward for being good enough. It's a reward for outlasting your own nervous system's attempt to protect you from change. And the moment you understand that quitting before the breakthrough isn't a failure of willpower, it's a success of your brain's defense system, everything shifts. You stop interpreting resistance as a sign to stop. You start interpreting it as a sign you're close. So if you're in the messy middle right now, if you're doubting everything, if quitting sounds more logical every day, don't trust that feeling. It's not giving you truth, it's giving you biology. And your biology doesn't want you to evolve, it wants you to survive. And survival means staying the same. But you didn't start this to stay the same. You started this to become different. And different requires you to stay in the discomfort longer than your brain thinks is reasonable. That's the price, and it's worth it. So here's your move. Don't decide if you should quit. Decide you won't decide for 2 more weeks. And in those 2 weeks, execute like the decision is already made. Because I promise you this, the breakthrough you're looking for is closer than the comfort you're craving. You just can't see it yet. If this explained why you almost quit everything right before it works, subscribe. Next time, we're dissecting why productivity systems keep failing you. And it's not because the system is broken, it's because you are.